Listen to this. Easter is a lie from hell. It is not a truth from heaven. Easter is a lie from hell. The name Easter, did you know that Jesus Christ never ever used the name Easter? You can search it in the gospel accounts that speak of his earthly ministry. Jesus never spoke that name out of his mouth. Neither did he celebrate or ask anyone that believed in him to celebrate anything called Easter. You can do your own research. Go and read the book of Acts. Go and read the letters of the apostles. From the letter that Paul the apostle wrote to the church in Rome, to the church in Corinth, to the church in Thessalonica, to the church in Galatia, to the church in Philippi. All these letters that were written by even the apostles. John, he wrote 3 letters. Peter wrote 2 letters. You go and read the letter by Jude. You do not find one mention of Easter. What is Easter? Where did that name come from? Have you taken time to research, to study and find out where the name Easter came from? Easter was a spring celebration. It was an equinox spring celebration, which was performed mostly by communities towards the Arctic, the Northern Hemisphere, where they experienced those 4 seasons. Summer and spring and autumn and winter. Now, winter was usually a very cold and very difficult season. And the people would long for spring. And when spring comes, that's where they are right about now. The beginning of spring. That is when the plants would begin to blossom. They would begin, the winter is ending, and now there is warmth coming in. And then spring was now celebrating the goddess which they believed was responsible for bringing in, ushering in this season. The Greeks called that goddess Estrella. The Romans called that goddess Ichita. The English rendered that goddess Easter. So when you are celebrating Easter, you are not celebrating Christ in truth. You are celebrating Christ in lies. The lie you are involved in is a false tradition and custom that men were given by demons so that they could celebrate a demon they called Easter. Make no mistakes about it. Gods and goddesses that the people of ancient times celebrated were actually demons. Easter is a demon. So when you say happy Easter, you are actually saying happy demon. You are actually celebrating a demon. When you're sending an Easter card, you are sending a celebration of demon to somebody else. Easter is a demonic festivity. How did it come in the faith? I have told you, Jesus never talked about it. I have told you, the apostles never taught on it, never even wrote on it. It's not in any of their letters. Where did it come from? If you look in the early church, what they usually celebrated is what they call Pasach, the Passover. Okay? They celebrated the Passover. And there was this legacy from the law, from the Jewish festivity where they celebrated the Passover, the Pasach. They celebrated the Passover when God delivered the children of Israel from the captivity they suffered in Egypt. When he sent a death angel and he went over the houses of the Hebrew because they had killed the lamb and they put the blood on their doorposts. So they celebrated the Pasach. And because you remember Jesus was killed during the celebration of Pasach, so they continued to celebrate the Pasach together with the death of Christ Jesus. Now, there are some people presently who like to say, oh, we should not celebrate Easter. We should celebrate the Passover. No, you shouldn't. And I will tell you why. The Passover was the celebration of the Passover when God delivered the children of Israel from the captivity of Egypt. The celebration of Christ should not also be adulterated with that celebration. Because even though God delivered Israel out of Egypt in the Passover, Israel remained in the bondage of sin. They were freed from the bondage of Pharaoh, but they remained in the bondage of sin. And that is why the law condemned them. So you cannot say that we should celebrate Christ with the Passover, because that would be to insult Christ, who delivered us not from the bondage of Pharaoh, but beyond that, he delivered us from the bondage of sin. The celebration of the work of the cross and the power of the blood supersedes and exceeds the measure of Pasach, the Passover. You cannot bring the greater and celebrate it in the lesser. You cannot say that I am celebrating Christ in what was lesser than what Christ did for you. I came here to tell you by the Spirit of the living God, wake up, children of the living God. If you want the work of the cross and the power of the blood to work for you, to be manifested in your life, worship Christ in spirit and in truth.